Hi everyone, this is Ravi. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you all know, I have already started publishing YouTube videos on advanced concepts of Tosca Automation Engineer Level 1, and I'll be posting more and more videos to show a different scenarios how can we automate by using Tosca. So please stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos on these concepts. Thank you. So this is our lesson 4 on Tosca Automation Engineer Level 1 concepts. So this session is more like a practical session rather than theoretical session. Okay, it's very important you don't find these scenarios explanation in Tosca official videos as well. You cannot find these scenarios. Okay, I'm going to explain step by step how can we automate a very common occurring scenarios and some peculiar scenarios. How can we validate different types of page views in websites like e-commerce websites, right? So when you search a product in any one of the Amazon website or in Best Buy or whatever it may be, so whenever you search a product, there are different views of that particular product page, right? So how can I automate all these different functionalities by using Tosca automation tool? It's very important, guys. I'm going to show these scenarios live in Tosca tool by walk you through the examples. So in this session, I'm going to show how can we verify page view changes, and I'm going to show you how to automate the verification of the products list based on the page size. And also I'm going to show you how can we automate the verification of the product sorting order based on the price, and how can you automate the functionality related to different views of the pages like grid view, list view. So how can you automate these functionality by using Tosca automation tool? Okay, so without delay, let's jump onto the system and start automating these scenarios. So it will take, this session is bit longer session. It's almost like 1 hour session where I'll be showing you at these different scenarios how can you automate by using Tosca automation tool. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's discuss how can we automate our first scenario. So our first scenario, as you all know, I'm going to work on demo web shop that has been provided by Tosca. Okay, so once you log into your demo web shop, right, you can select apparel and shoes product category. So as soon as you select the product category, the page will show different types of products. So how many products will be displayed on the page? That's based on the number of products that you want to display on the page. So there is an option in the drop down, right? Either you can select 4 products, or you can select 8 products, or you can select 12 products, right? So based on the product selection by the user, the number of products will be displayed on the page. Okay, so let me just show you what is the scenario that we are going to automate. Okay, so if you see on the screen, there is a web shop. Login by using username, password, and once you log in, click on apparels and shoe, and there you see display per page 4. That means it's going to display 4 products. If you select 8, then it's going to display 8 products, right? If you select 12 from the drop down, then you have to verify all 12 products got displayed on the screen, right? So now how can you automate this functionality? By using Tosca. So whenever I select 4, whether 4 products got displayed or not. Whenever I select 8, whether 8 products got displayed or not. Whenever I select 12, 12 products got displayed or not. So we need to automate this scenario. So let's jump onto the system and see how can we do this. So this is my Tosca tool, and let us start working on scenario 1 as we discussed just now. Okay, my first scenario, so as I told you, so if I select display as 4, then the product should be 4 products should be displayed on the page. If I select 8, 8 products should be displayed on the page. If I select 12, 12 products should be displayed on the page. So how can we validate this selection is working fine or not? Okay, that's our scenario as I explained you. So for that, first let me go to modules. Let me create a new module called view page, and let's scan the page with the control. I want to scan this control, and also I want to scan this div container, the container of this entire details, container of these detail, container of these detail, and container of these detail. Basically what I'm going to do, as soon as I select 4, I'm going to automate Tosca to check how many containers are available on the page. Okay, so if it has 4 containers, that means it has displayed 4 different products. If the div containers are 8, then it displayed 8 containers. Okay, so that's how we are going to automate. Okay, so let me just go back here, and here just right click, click on scan application, and then select the application that you would like to scan. So this is my application. Click on scan, and here first I need to select this one, right? Display drop down. Okay, combo box. So if I scroll down, if you see here, page size is my drop down. So if you want to highlight this one, just highlight on the screen. So this is my drop down. And also I would like to add these also, sort by and view as. Okay, because these controls will be used in our next scenario 2 and 3. Okay, so I just want to add those 2 drop downs as well. Okay, I have added those 2 drop downs. Now I have to capture the container, okay, to see how many products are displayed. Okay, for that let me expand this control selection here so that I can see the more detailed controls. So if you scroll down here, so if you see, my first container has $11. So these are all the details pertaining to that, and the next one is $11 again. Third one is $1. This is my third one, and fourth one is again $1, right? So let me, what do you mean by container? Okay, so I mean, if you want to understand these details, I have already explained all these details in my previous automation specialist videos. Okay, I have recorded around 20 specialist videos, so I would recommend you guys to go through those videos. Okay, so if you see here, let me highlight this div container. What it's going to show? So if you see, this is my first container, and what is my second container? So this is my second container, this is my third container, right? So I would like to select one container. Okay, let me select one container. Okay, and then I have to basically select the container, just check this, and I have to select the class name. Okay, I want to select the class name called details, so that, see, if I don't select this container is not uniquely identified, right? I have explained all these concepts in my previous sessions, which is Tosca automation specialist sessions. So these are all the automation engineer sessions, advanced sessions. Okay, so visit those videos. Okay, so this div container is not uniquely identified. That's the reason I'm going to select class name. Then now it's got uniquely identified. Okay, I think done. So we have selected all three drop downs, and then I've scanned my div container, and then save this. Okay, before save, for this container, right, I would like to remove this inner text. I don't want to keep the inner text. Okay, so I don't want to keep the inner text because the inner text is not unique. Okay, I want to remove that inner text, and let me save this. Even though this object is not uniquely identified, that's not a problem, because I'm gonna count how many are there, correct? How many containers are there? Okay, just you need to save this, and now let's close this, come back here, expand this. So let me rename this as page grid view controls. Okay, I'm renaming this, and this container I would like to rename this as prices. Okay, prices. So that's done, and now let's go back to our test cases. So for this, first I would like to create a new test case called, so let me create a new test case. For that, let me just copy this view changes and let me paste this. Okay, it's an empty folder. Okay, I'm just copying this empty folder, folder called view changes. Okay, which has all three scenarios. Okay, basically I just created a skeleton of three scenarios. I just created empty test case called view all page sizes. So that's what we are working on, right? So that means these page sizes. First, let me add my first precondition. Okay, let me copy the precondition from my previous test case, whatever we discussed earlier. Okay, let me just copy this, copy my precondition. Okay, it's very simple. Okay, just paste this. So what does this precondition do? It's actually opening the demo web shop and logging in. Okay, so demo web shop, it is logging in and navigating to my account. That's it. So that's what it's going to do. Now let me create another subfolder here. Let me create subfolder called select apparel and shoe page. That means I have to navigate. See, once I come here, I have to navigate to apparels and shoes, right? So for that I need to add a module called, let's add test step, which is product choice tabs. Okay, let me add this. So here I need to select my product called apparels and shoes. Okay, so this is done. So once this is done, I have to create another new folder. This one is, let's say, size 4. That means I want to validate a size 4, correct? Page size is 4. So here let me add the new module whatever I created. What module? Page grid view controls, right? So let's add this. Okay, right click, add page grid view controls, right? Okay, so it has all the controls that we added, 4 different controls that we added. Okay, so here now what is my page size? it's a 4. So you will have those values here. Select 4, right? I don't want to bother about these two controls, okay? And what is the price? When I select page size as 4, then the price, sorry, the div, this div container should have 4 different containers, okay? So let me just create a div. So that means the number of div containers should be 4. So let's expand this. Result count, that means the result count should be equal to 4. So when I select the page size as 4, then these price containers should be 4. That's what I'm instructing. So now I'm going to verify this. Okay, I'm verifying this. If the page size is, whenever user selects 4 page size, then you should have a total 4 div containers. Okay, so that is done. So let me just copy my logout. I mean, just a reusable component called. Let me just copy my reusable component, which is just logout, right? Post condition logout. Okay, I'm just gonna paste that logout. So as I already explained you, these are all the reusable components. Just logout means I'm just waiting for the logout link, and then I'm just clicking on logout, right? I'm just again waiting for login, and then just closing the website. Okay, so I already explained you, these are all, see, these precondition and the post condition in every session. Okay, so now let's run this and see what happens. So if you understand well, so I'm just, what I'm doing, I'm navigating to apparels and shoes. Okay, apparel shoes, and then I'm selecting the page size as 4, and then I'm verifying how many containers, okay, are available. If 4 containers are available or not, I'm just verifying. Okay, let me run this. Okay, before run this, let me close, log out, close the browser. Okay, so before that I have to see my test configurations. So if you see here, I want to change this to Chrome. I want to run this on Chrome. And then what is my username and password? Okay, okay, this is done. So let's run this again and see what happens. Okay, right click and run in Scratchbook. It's going to open your browser. It's opened the browser. Click on login, entering the username and password. It's going to select your apparels and shoes, and now select 4. Now verify the containers. So that is done. So it verified the containers also. So let's go back to our test results. My test results, if you see here, see in the grid view, I basically page size, and then it's verified your prices. If you see here, my expected value of the containers are 4 and my actual is 4. So now let me create another test step called size 8. I'm just copying this. Let me just copy this and then paste it here. Rename this as size 8 and bring it to here. Because I just verified size 4, now I have to verify size 8 also, right? So when I select 8 in the drop down, it should show. So let me select 8 this time. My result count should be, this time container should be 8, not 4. So in the same way, copy this again, paste it here, and just sort this to the logical group. And now let me rename this as size 12. I'm just making sure for every size selection the products are displaying correct or not. So here in the drop down, I'm going to select 12, and here the result count is 12, right? So now this is our entire test case. That means I'm verifying size 4, I'm verifying size 8, size 12. Okay, so let me run this again. Right click, run in Scratchbook. It's gonna open my, yes, it's opened, it's logging in, and this time it should perform all sizes. Okay, first 4 validated, 8 validated, 12 validated, log out and close the browser. So now it should pass everything. If I go back to my test results, so let me just do comparison now. So these are all my 4 different size validations. First one is, when I select 4, my expected is 4 containers and actually is 4. And the next one is, when I select size as 8, my expected is 8 containers, my actual is 8 containers. That means 8 products are displayed. And third one, expected containers are 12 and my actual containers are 12. So this is how you can easily automate your page views related test scenarios by using Tosca. These are all really very important, guys, and it's very easy and simple methods that you need to follow. So you keep practicing all these kind of different scenarios, and then you will get a very good hold on your real-time scenarios. Okay, so that's it regarding scenario 1. Let's continue our session with scenario 2. Okay, so let's work on our scenario 2. How can we automate scenario 2? So what is our scenario 2? In the same web shop, in apparels and shoes product category, there is another option called sorting the products based on the price, from low to high, from high to low, based on the what you will have based on the relevant, right, based on the date. So you can sort in different ways the products list, correct? So now how can I automate this functionality to validate? So whenever I select the sort order from low to high, all the products should sort from low price to high price. How can I automate this scenario to verify? Okay, so let's see what is our scenario. If you see on the screen, so I'm logging into website. Once I log in, I'm going to select apparels and shoes. And then if you see on the screen, you have a list view. So as soon as I select the list view, now let me select number of products as 12 per page, right? Now I want to sort these products from low to high price, right? Once it's sorted, I want to verify if the price has got sorted, the products got sorted based on the price or not, right? So low to high price. And then I would like to log out and close the browser. So we are gonna automate this entire scenario by using Tosca tool. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, let's jump onto system and see how can we automate this scenario. Okay, so this is my Tosca tool. Okay, where we'll be working on scenario 2. Okay, so as discussed, my second scenario is to compare. Basically, once user logs in and goes to apparels and shoes, and he views as list, and then he's going to select 12 products, and he's going to sort the products based on the low to high price, right? So once you sort, what I need to do, I have to compare my first product price should be equal or less than second product price, and the second product price should be equal or less than third product price, and third product price should be equal or less than fourth product price. So this is what we have to validate. Okay, I have to automate this scenario by using Tosca. So for that, first we are gonna work in modules. Okay, in the modules, in view page module itself, I'm gonna scan this page. Okay, just click on scan application,
And so wait for the application that needs to be selected. So once it shows which application to be scanned, select the required application, click on scan. So here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add price. So let me just show you that. Okay, first you have to expand your selection. Okay, let's expand this, and now I want to select a container pertaining to the price. Okay, if I click here, so I want to basically highlight. Let me highlight. Okay, highlight the selection. So my highlight selection is, so this is my first price, and this is my second price container, this is my third product price container, right? So now I would like to add this container. I want to add this container, and I want to add another container also. I'll tell you why I'm adding two. Okay, so let me just add two containers. Okay, this is my another container. Okay, I'm adding two containers, but I have to make sure that these containers are having the properties that are required to automate. Okay, so like what, we have to add my class name. Okay, let me add the class name, and I have to add even inner text, and I think that's it. Okay, let's save this class name inner text. Okay, that's fine, and save it. So once you save this, close this window, go back to your so let me just rename this module as page list view controls. Okay, so these are all the controls that are available in list view. Okay, I'm just separating it. So if you see here, there are two prices, but what we have to do is, in this scenario, we are gonna automate by using explicit name. Okay, so for that, you just need to click here, add an additional configuration parameter called explicit name. Okay, and rename this exc explicit name. The spelling should be correct. Okay, and make it as true. In the same way, for second price also, you need to add explicit name and make this as true. So guys, if you need more information on explicit name, right, why do we use this explicit name, I would recommend you guys to visit my previous videos. Okay, 1, 2, I think session 1 and 2. Okay, so and then what I want to do is, if you see here, the inner text is 1 and the inner text is 10. So let's assume if we are reading, when it is reading this particular inner text, the inner text will be 11, right? This price for this product, then it's gonna fail. So that's the reason I want to convert this static inner text to a dynamic by introducing a star. That means any kind of inner text. Okay, I don't want to hard code the value with respect to prices, but instead I want to make it as star. Okay, so that is done. Now we completed adding all the price containers. Why we have added these module controls? Because I want to compare each price with each product price with the next product price, and then compare this product price with the next product price. So for that, I have added all the containers, div containers corresponding to the prices. Okay, and I have removed the hard coded value of inner text with star, right? Okay, so that is done. Now let's go back to test case. So if you go back to test case, as we did earlier in the previous scenario, I want to add a precondition as it is. I'm copying that and pasting it here. Okay, by this I'll be logging into my application. So once I log into application, I have to click on apparels and shoe. For that, I have to add a new step called choice tab, right? In the choice tabs, I will be selecting apparels and shoes. So once the choice tab is introduced, so once that is choice tab is introduced, what you are going to do, have to basically create a demo web shop apparels and shoes. That means once I reach this page, user has to select this, user has to select this as 12, and user has to select the price sort by low to high, and then user has to select list. So all these controls we already added in our previous scenario, right? If you see here in my previous scenario, we already added all these controls. That means I have to add this module called page grid view controls. So here, let me call that here. Okay, let me add. Okay, so for this, let me do one thing. Let me create a subfolder here. Okay, let me create a subfolder, and then let me name this as select apparels and shoe. ANCS, and I want to move this to this folder. Okay, so done. Under this, I want to add another step, okay, where page grid view controls, right? As I told you, I have added these controls test step here, and now what I'm going to do, I have to select what the view mode should be, list view, and what is my page order, it's low to high, and what is my page size, it's 12, right? I don't want to use this. Okay, I want to use this also. What I want to use, I want to use this to basically count number of products. Okay, I want to first, as soon as you select list, and then as soon as you select 12, and then sort from low to high, I want to store the number of products, how many products are there, right? I want to store that into a buffer. So this container, now I want to use this container. How many such containers are there? So result count equal to now number of prices or number of products. Okay, I want to store that into a buffer called number of products, right? And then let's store this into a buffer. Done, I stored it. Now as soon as I stored number of products into a buffer, now I have to compare my price, first product price with second product price with third product. So it should be like ascending order, right? Price should keep on increasing because I sorted by low to high. Okay, for that let me add a new folder called verification. Okay, so to compare, see, when I compare this, right, I have to compare first container with second price container, and then second price container with third price container. Like that I have to compare all 12 products. That means I have to repeat this verification how many times? Number of products, how many are there on the page, minus 1, right? So that's the reason I have to enable this repetition on this folder. So let me copy that. This is my number of products. So how many times it should repeat? Number of products minus 1 time, 11 times. Okay. So as soon as you enable the repetition, your folder will show you it's a repetition symbol. Okay. So done. Now let me add the new module test step with a new module, whatever we just now added, right? Page list view controls. Okay, page list view controls. Okay, so let's go back here, add that step, add test step, and then page list view controls. So I have added these two. Now what I am going to do, these two are some 2 containers. Let's assume first 2 containers, but I don't want to make this as a first 2 containers. In generic containers, whatever the container, I want to make it. Okay, for that, because we already enabled the explicit name for these two controls. We already enabled the explicit name, right? I would like to use the explicit name function here. How? I want to use the repetition here. So what is the first container? My first container should be taken from repetition. That means here this repetition for the first time is gonna be 1. It will take the first container as 1. And that price should be, basically the first container should be stored into one buffer. So what is that buffer? I want to store it in a buffer. The inner text, I want to store this inner text into price 1. Price 1. Okay. And then I want to store sorry. Okay, let me do one more thing again. Result count inner, and then store it into buffer. Okay. And then what is my second one? Second, that means second container price, I would like to store inner text. I want to store it in price 2. Okay. But my second container is what? My second container is, the explicit name should be this one. What? Math function plus 1. That means let's assume this is 1 and this should be 2. That's the reason what I am doing. 1 plus the repetition plus 1 is 2. Next time if it is 2, then this should be 3. If it is 3, it should be 4. That means I am storing the price of each product, first and second products, into a buffer called price 1 and price 2. Right? I stored them. Now once I store them, I have to verify them. So for that, let me add an inbuilt T-box verification. Okay, how? Just right click and T-box verification. T-box. There is an inbuilt function called T-box evaluation. Okay, T-box evaluation. Okay, just use that. Now I want to compare that. So what I have to evaluate here? I want to evaluate if the price 1 is less than price 2 or not. For that, now I have to call that buffer. Buffer price 1 is less than or equal to buffer price 2. I'm just verifying that. I'm instructing Tosca to verify if the price stored in my first container is less than second container or not. Okay, I'm just verifying that, right? So once you verify that, and then we will be logging out. So let me just copy the post condition to my this test case. Okay, so that means what I'm doing here, first logging in, and then I'm selecting apparel and shoes, and then I'm selecting all the user options to show 12 products and to sort the products by low to high price. And then what I'm doing, I'm creating one verification where I'm storing the first and second prices into buffer, and then I'm comparing first with the second, and I'm verifying whether the first is less than or equal to second. This way it's gonna repeat 11 times to cover all these 12 products comparison, right? So now let me just right click and run this. Before run, I want to make sure test configurations. Okay, all the test configurations are correct. So let me just log out here. Log out. Okay, so now let's run our entire test in Scratchbook. Okay, so just right click on run. So before then, actually I want to log out this and then close all the tabs. Okay, right click, run in Scratchbook. So first it should open our browser, and then once it opens the browser, it's going to log in. Okay, so you clicked on login, entered username, password, and then apparel and shoes. Done. Now the select list, it selected low to high, selected 12 products. Now it's going to compare 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Yeah, it's compared all. I think everything should go well. Yeah, so now it's got passed. So if you see here the results, if you go to the results verification part, so my first container, what it did, let me see. My first iteration is, so it stored the price 1 as 1, it stored the price 2 as second product as 1, and it is comparing if 1 is less than or equal to. Yes, it's true. Let's see second one. Okay, the second one, the price 1 stored as 1 and the price 2 stored as 10, third product, and it's evaluating if 1 is less than or equal to 10. That's correct. So in the same way, if you go to last 11th repetition, the first price is 35 and the last one is 40. So that's why 35 less than or equal to true. That means all the orders that are sorted based on the price. So that's the true. It's really important concept, guys. Hope you all understand the concept, which is very important concept. All we did is we basically created one verification folder. We enabled the repetition, and then the repetition count is number of products on the page minus 1, which is 11 times, right? And then I have inserted a test step where I have stored price containers, and I'm using explicit name to identify all 12 price containers, right? Where I used the repetition, I'm passing the repetition, whatever the repetition value here for the first container, and second container is my repetition value plus 1. If it is 3, if it is, this will be 4. If it is 4, this will be 5. So like that. And then I'm comparing, I'm storing the price value into a buffer, both the price values, and then I'm comparing the prices by using T-box evaluation tool, right? So it's pretty simple, but it's really a very good logic. In the real time, you do face lot of these scenarios that needs to be automated. Hope you all understand.
Okay, let's start scenario 3. How can we automate this scenario 3 by using Tosca? So what is our scenario 3? So it's again same website. We are going to land on apparels and shoes page. So once you land on apparels and shoe, for user we are providing either you can see the products in the list view or you can see the products in grid view. Okay, so let's see what is the scenario on the screen. Okay, so if you see, I'm gonna log in as usual by using username and password. I'm gonna automate this entire scenario. Okay, so once you provide username and password successfully, you'll be landing onto home page, and then select apparels and shoes. And here if you see right side, if I click on list view, that entire view should shift to my list view. If I select grid view, then that entire page should turn into grid view, right? So how can I verify this scenario? By using Tosca. How can I automate this entire scenario, right? So once you verify, you're going to log out and close the browser. So let's jump onto the system and see how can I automate this entire end-to-end scenario by using Tosca.
This is my Tosca again. Okay, so the third scenario, as I explained you, I want to validate whether the view of your page is a grid view and list view, right? So as soon as user selects list, then the view of page should be list view, and if user selects grid, then the view of page should change it to grid. How can you validate whether the page change it to the list or grid? Okay, I want to automate the validation of search scenario. Okay, so for that, here for both we already created these two modules for scenario 1 and 2. Now we have to add an additional control to these views. Okay, what is that additional control? I have to add a div container which represents the grid view and div container which represents the list view. Okay, let me show you that. Okay, for that, just go to page grid view now, because I'm in grid view, and rescan this. Right click, rescan, and now you have to search for the div container which represents the grid view. Okay, let me show you how you can identify that. Okay, so it's going to open, and then you just need to select the application that you want to scan. Oh, it's already selected, because see, if you see here, let me just expand the view here, expand the view. If you scroll down, so if you see at the top of, see where all the prices are listed here, right? Let me just expand this. So if you see, these containers are related to prices that we already added. So if you see the parent div container, so this is, what is this? Let's click on this. If you see here, this is item box. What about this? This is price item. What about this? This is your picture. And then what about this? This is details. Okay. Okay. This is your, so let's go to this. So what is this? If you see here, product grid, this div actually represents the first div, parent of all these prices, right? Represents your product grid. I want to add this product grid. Okay, I want to add this product grid to my existing module. Save this. So close this. If you see here in the existing module, a new div will be added. This one I want to make it as product grid view. In the same way, I have to capture, so let me just rename this correctly. I have to capture the list. Okay, so here for that I want to change this into list view, and now just rescan this. Now rescan. In the same way, I have to identify the list view now. Okay, the list view container, div container. Okay, so rescan, and then it's going to load all the controls, and then expand this and go to the containers corresponding to prices. So these are all the containers corresponding to prices, where these, right? So if you click here, now this time it should show product list. Earlier product grid, now it is product list. Okay, just select this and save this. So now I have added an additional control here, div container, and rename this product list view. Okay, that's done. So now I think we are good now. So now let's go back to our test cases. So now what I want to do, I want to create a new test case which is list grid view. Okay, for this what I'll do, I'm going to copy same as it is. Okay, what are all the things I'm going to copy? I have to copy this, paste precondition. So once you copy here, you have to land onto, have to create another folder, select apparels and shoe. Right here I will be adding a new step, product choice tabs. So similar to what we did for scenario 2 and 1. Okay, apparels and shoe. So once you reaches to apparel and shoe, now I have to select this list, right? So for that, let me create another folder. Okay, the first one is, this is my select. Okay, let me create another folder. Okay, verification of views. Okay, so here I have to call my add steps. First one is page grid view controls, and here I'm gonna select my I'm gonna select view mode as grid, and then here it should be true, correct? So here the property visible true. That means what I am saying, as soon as I select grid, the container corresponding to product grid view should be true, right? So in the same way, I have to do it for my, okay, so let me just quickly, okay, let me just make sure that, okay, so basically in the same way I have to add my grid view as well as list view as well, right? List grid. Okay, so whenever I select list, then my list view div should be enabled. Okay, so let me just go here, okay, so when I select grid view, then the grid view should be true. If I select, let me do grid view control. So let me run this first of all. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me copy post my post condition as well. Okay, let me copy the post condition, copy, and then I'm adding the post condition. Okay, sorry, so I'm copying this post condition from my previous test case, and then I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, post condition. So now let's see if I run this, what happens. Okay, just log out and then close. Okay, and then right click and run. See what happens. So it's going to open your web shop, and then it's going to log in. Oh, I think I have not changed the Chrome browser. Okay, let me change the browsers. Okay, my settings. Okay, so if you see test configuration here, I have to provide my test configurations, correct test configurations, Chrome, and then username should be and then password. Okay, so now let's run this. Right click, run in Scratchbook. So it's gonna open the Chrome browser, it will log in, and then it's going to select apparels and shoe. Right now it's going to select list or grid view. Okay, selected, and then it's verifying, and it's successful, logged out. So if you see here my results, if I go back to my results, see in the product choice, product grid view. Okay, so this grid view is true. Basically it's evaluated whether the grid view container is present or not as soon as you select the grid view, correct? So this is how you can basically automate your view of the page. So only thing what we did here is we are capturing the corresponding container, grid view related container as part of your module, and I'm using whether that particular container is visible or not. Simple. So hope these are all very common and very tricky scenarios that you have to, that you generally come across in your real time, and how to automate this you all understand, hopefully. So if you have any questions, you can just drop your comments in the comment box so that I can reply to your queries.
Hope you all understand how can we automate different page views related scenarios by using Tosca automation tool. So these are all really very important concepts in your real-time projects. Keep practicing by watching my video, then you will be acquainted with the automation of these kind of scenarios by using Tosca. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon, you'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos on these concepts. And please don't forget to share and like the video. Thank you.